begin with the story that President Uhuru Kenyatta has said that Kenya has established anti-terrorism county action plans to reduce threats to the country. The president has indicated that the fight against terrorism has been devolved through the development of county action plans to counter and prevent violent extremism.
While leading the opening ceremony of the United Nations conference dubbed African Regional High-Level Conference on Counter-Terrorism and Prevention of Violent Extremism, President Uhuru Kenyatta led various African leaders in discussing ways and measures that have been put into place to combat terrorism. Addressing the conference, President Kenyatta said the fight against terrorism has been devolved through the development of county action plans to counter and prevent violent extremism.
Today, we yet again have another opportunity to further exchange ideas on how we can become more effective in countering terrorism and in the prevention of radicalization and extremism that breeds terrorism.
The county action plans tailored to the security needs of each of the 47 counties are meant to bring together security sector actors covering enforcement agencies, administrators, civil society, and citizens to prioritize collective counter-terrorism actions that are measurable and time-bound.
Terrorist groups, and in particular Al-Qaeda's affiliates, splinter groups, and those it has inspired, have an active presence in Africa, taking territory, disrupting the rule of law and the enjoyment of freedoms, and in some cases even posing existential threats to nation states.
The head of state said the measures to combat violent extremism will be complemented by a student safety and security mechanism developed by the Ministry of Education. In addition, President Kenyatta said African countries need to have strong strategies to deal with violent extremism, saying that terrorism is a Pan-African challenge, and as such, Africa must come up with a joint responses and solutions.
Given this tendency for terror groups to spread their nefarious tentacles across borders, and given their stated goal of continent-wide oppression and subjugation, no African nation can rest easy, and we are all targets in the sight of terror groups.
On his part, the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres said the United Nations is fully committed to work with all countries and organizations in the fight against terrorism.
Radicalization, terrorism and conflict cannot be resolved through enforcement alone. For terrorism to be defeated, it is essential that Africa counter-terrorism is holistic, well-funded, underpinned by respect for human rights, and most importantly, backed by strong political will.
Guterres said the United Nations supports African leaders who are spearheading solutions facing the African continent, adding that solution to counter violent extremism should also include development, saying that the use of force alone will not curb the problem.
We must fully engage women who play multiple roles in relation to violent extremism and its prevention, as victims, as those recruited and radicalized, but most importantly, as influencers and leaders in prevention and agents of peace.
The anti-terrorism conference in Nairobi comes days after Kenyan court jailed 3 Garissa University terror attack suspects that happened in 2015. Thousands of participants from across Africa will continue converging for 2 days. Chris Sambo, KUTV.